Hi, Alice here. 3 years ago, I was recovering from COVID, and it was my first time out in about 6 weeks. I drove down the street, and on the slope of somebody's yard, gasoline display of purple flowers, and all I could think of was, oh, I want that plant, whatever it is, I want it. So I started looking around. I didn't see any plants like that in any of the shops. And I thought, well, if it's there in that neighborhood, maybe there's something in my yard. And sure enough, there was this plant growing in the grass. I took a snip of the leaf and I thought, let me go into the extension office and ask the agent if he could help me identify this plant. Off I went, and the agent used on his cell phone Speak by iNaturalist, and he identified the plant as moss verbena. And I thought, verbena? When I lived in the Atlanta area, I used Homestead Purple verbena. It was an annual for me up there. That's a different plant, and the little plant that I had in my yard had the feathery looking leaves. Moss verbena is in the verbena family. There are many species of verbenas. Its origin is South America, but it is established in Florida, and it's been creeping its way up the East Coast through Georgia to North Carolina. Hardy in zone 7 through 10. It's also spread across other parts of the South, in the Mid-South area, which would be parts of Tennessee, parts of Alabama, parts of Kentucky, kind of that area. They consider it an invasive plant. And I thought, oh, goodness. But in the area where I am in Florida, in Georgia and North Carolina, it's considered a perennial. It can be evergreen. In the southern part of Florida, it is cold sensitive, but it comes back in the spring. It's a vigorous spreader. Frequently, you see it in ditches. You see it in vacant lots. It's okay to grow this plant. In Florida, it's considered potentially invasive if it's not controlled. And by that, they mean if you have it in your yard, it's best to plant it in like a hanging basket or a container. Or if you're going to have it in a border area like I have it in my yard, then keep it contained so that it doesn't spread, especially if you live close to a natural area. You don't want it spreading in there and then out-competing any native plants. So I thought, okay, it's already here, a little bit of it in my yard. Let me just transplant it over to the border area and see how it does. It blooms, it repeatedly all spring, summer, into the late fall. And this plant is still blooming in my border area. It was hit by frost at least 8 times already since Thanksgiving. You can see in the picture there are patches where it died back from frost, but then you have this dark green leafy foliage still thriving. It's full sun. It does grow in partial shade, but it gets kind of leafy looking, not this dense mat like it gets in full sun. The soil that it requires is any kind of soil. It'll grow in sand and loam and then clay. pH range from acidic to alkaline. So from 6.0 to 8.0, which is a wide range, very flexible plant. You can mow it, it'll come back. Water requirement, it likes heat, some moisture, but it is also drought tolerant. So it's an extremely adaptable plant for most any kind of yard situation. Bloom time, spring, summer, fall. Late fall, the bloom color is purple, very vibrant, and a very showy flower. Finally, the bloom form, it's single and a star shape. The flowers are in clusters, very attractive looking plant, low growing, ground cover. Gardening tip. This plant attracts butterflies, bees, pollinators, and it's a great addition to a butterfly pollinator garden, even a rock garden. You'll have butterflies from when the plant starts blooming until the plant dies back from frost or freeze. Here we are at the end of the season, and it's blooming. There's the Gulf Sweaterary that has been enjoying this plant all afternoon. Gardening tip. This plant has been called a weedy flower. Be aware it does form a mat and can easily take over landscape bed. If you want really low maintenance, put it in a container or use it in a hanging pot. The landscape uses vary because you can use it mass planting or you can have it in a small contained area that has a lot of sun. You can run it at the border along the walkway or in front of your garden bed like I've done with my wildflower bed. You can use it in a rocky area, or if you have a rock wall and you want a cascading plant, you can use it on a slope for erosion control. This plant has been a surprise and a delight. I put almost no effort into it. I moved it from where I found it in the yard and I put it in the border and I've watched it spread and bloom. Are beautiful and the butterflies love them. The bees come, other pollinators come from spring until the end of the year. So what's not to like? You can fertilize once a year and it can enhance the blooms, but I don't do that. I just let it grow and maybe every other month I might cut it back a few of the runners that are starting to creep over to some of my other flowers. No pests, no diseases. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If so, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have comments from your gardening experience, please share. There's some videos you might like to watch next. Subscribe if you've not already subscribed. Garden Yay! See you in the next video.